بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كافها يا عين صاد ذكر رحمة ربك عبده زكريا إذ نادى ربه نداء خفيا قال رب إني وهن العظم مني واشتعل الرأس شيبا ولم أكن بدعائك رب شقيا وإني خفت الموالي من ورائي وكانت امرأتي عاقرا فهب لي من لدنك وليا يرثني ويرث من آل يعقوب واجعله ربي رضيا يا زكريا إنا نبشرك بغلام اسمه يحيى لم نجعل له من قبل سميا صدق الله العلي العظيم.
In the name of Allah, the Merciful, the Beneficent. Kaf, Ha, Ya, Ain, Swad. This is an account of your Lord's mercy on his servant Zechariah. When he called out to his Lord with a secret cry, he said, "My Lord, indeed my bones have become feeble and my head has turned white with age. Yet never have I, my Lord, been disappointed in supplicating you. Indeed, I fear my kinsman after me, and my wife is barren. So grant me from yourself an heir, who may inherit from me and inherit from the house of Jacob, and make him, my Lord, pleasing to you. O Zechariah, Indeed, we give you the good news of a son, whose name is John. Never before have we made anyone his namesake. Sadaqallahul Aliyyul Azim. Allah the Most High, the Supreme, has spoken the truth. Sallallahu Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Sallallahu Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. King of martyrs, O Imam of man and jinn, Mola Hussain, Sayyidu Shuhada, Imamul Insi wal Jinnah Hussain. King of martyrs, O Imam of man and jinn, Mola Hussain, Sayyidu Shuhada, Imamul Insi wal Jinnah Hussain.
Marhaba ya Aba Abdullah, ya Aba Akbar Hussain.
Warithul Adam Abul Ahrar Imami ya Hussain.
Father of infant Abdullah and Ali Akbar Hussain.
O inheritor of Adam, father of freedom Hussain. King of martyrs, O Imam of man and jinn, Mola Hussain.
Everyone together.
Sayyidu Shuhada, Imamul Insi wal Jinnah Hussain. King of martyrs, O Imam of man and jinn, Mola Hussain. Sayyidu Shuhada, Imamul Insi wal Jinnah Hussain.
Annaka kamta salat, annaka taita zakat.
قد أمرت بالمعروف ونهيت المنكرات.
You established prayer and gave your everything in charity.
You enjoined the right, forbidden justice and iniquity. King of martyrs, O Imam of man and jinn, Mola Hussain. Sayyidu Shuhada, Imamul Insi wal Jinnah Hussain.
Everyone.
King of martyrs, O Imam of man and jinn, Mola Hussain. Sayyidu Shuhada, Imamul Insi wal Jinnah Hussain.
Al-Hussainu minni qala wa ana min al-Hussain.
Anta Sayyidu Ahlil Jannah was-Safina ya Hussain.
Mustafa said, you are from me, I am from you, O Hussain.
Prince of Paradise, you are a sanctuary, O Hussain. King of martyrs, O Imam of man and jinn, Mawla Hussain. Sayyidul Shuhada, Imamul Insi wal Jinnah Hussain.
مرحبا يا ثار الله خيرة الله مصطفى
أنت نفس المطمئنة أنت مصباح الهدى.
Your avenger is Allah, your selector is Allah.
Your contented soul, a lamp of guidance in every era. King of martyrs, O Imam of man and jinn, Mawla Hussain. Sayyidul Shuhada, Imamul Insi wal Jinnah Hussain.
Assalamu alayka ya ibn al-Mustafa wal-Murtada.
Marhaba ya ibna Khatija, Noor Ain al-Fatima.
Salutations to the son of Mustafa and Murtada.
Marhaba, son of Khatija, and the heart of Fatima. King of martyrs, O Imam of man and jinn, Mawla Hussain. Sayyidul Shuhada, Imamul Insi wal Jinnah Hussain. King of martyrs, O Imam of man and jinn, Mawla Hussain. Sayyidul Shuhada, Imamul Insi wal Jinnah Hussain.
Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Please recite a louder salawat.
Momin, a few points before I invite the Moulana. On the logistics of seating, please try to sit in a way that makes it easy for people coming in to be seated during the Majlis. Also request for kids under 12 to sit on the seat on the floor below or on the staircase on the side, but not blocking the entryway. During the Majlis, please, if your kid and there's an elderly person walking, allow them to sit and come down on the floor. If we see seats are open right now, so it's fine, but maybe during the Majlis, if you can sit down and be courteous for that, for the folks coming in. There will be a short Q&A today to address questions relevant to the topic. You can ask your questions from the hall, but kindly avoid multiple questions per person. And if you want to put your questions anonymously, you can go to slido.com, and the code is, I'll switch it, but to Muharram 2026. And you can ask there anonymously. For cell phones, please switch them off or to silent. We don't want any interruptions during the Majlis. So please turn off any alarms or the ringers. There's also an extensive collection of Islamic books, including for children and the youth, that are not easily accessible in Pakistan. So please do avail yourself of them, and they're being offered at a very significant discount of 40% today. So please go take a look. Sallallahu Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Today's Majlis is sponsored by Aqib Jaffry and family. Please recite a Surah Fatiha for their marhumin, Sayyid Shafqat Ali, Farasat Jabin, Shaheen Shah, Mansoor Jaffry, and Khatija Ali. I will now request Moulana Syed Ali Aqib Jaffry to come and recite the 7th Majlis on the topic of Basira, spiritual insight, the need of the hour. Please welcome him with the loudest of salawats. Allahumma salli ala
Suratul Fatiha. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Once again, there's a special request for dua for those who are ill and are in need of dua, especially duas during these majalises. Muhammad Ali Riaz, he has been sick. He is better now, but he is again requested that the Mu'mineen and Mu'minat do dua for him. So for his quick recovery and the recovery of all those who are sick and are in need of duas, let us recite aloud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وخاتم النبيين سيدنا ونبينا وشفيع ذنوبنا وطبيب قلوبنا بالقاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين الغر الميامين المعصومين من يومنا هذا إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وخطابه المتين، وهو أصدق القائلين وقوله الحق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن اتبعني. صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Basira, translated as spiritual insight, is one of the essential and necessary ingredients for survival. One of the necessary ingredients for anyone who takes on the responsibility of leading the community. Anyone in charge of running an organization, a religious organization especially, is in need of spiritual insight. Spiritual insight is that nur, is that inner light that shows you what path and what decisions to take when there is doubt and confusion. In the darkness of the night, in a stormy night, in a cloudy night, when there is a dust storm and all the physical paths are obscure and invisible, Basirat is that inner light. Spiritual insight will be that inner light that will still show you the path. And according to this verse, calling towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has to be done with basira. And not only the Holy Prophet, the one who followed the Holy Prophet and invites towards Allah also had basira. And extending on that, all those who take that opportunity of guiding the ummah towards Allah, be it in the form of leading an organization, be in the form of people sitting on the pulpit, people who are responsible for centers and imam bargas and organizing majalis, they all are in need of that necessary basira. For if they lack that necessary basira, you might have abundance of majalis, but they would be lacking content. They would not be fulfilling their purpose. In one of the beautiful statements, in one of the beautiful advices that the Holy Prophet gave to Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib, he says, Ya Ali, إِذَا رَأَيْتَ أَنَّ النَّاسِ يَشْتَغِلُونَ بِكَسْرَةِ الْعَمَلِ. Oh Ali, when you see people engaged in abundance of amal, of action, of amal, acts of devotion, فَأَنْتَ تَشْتَغِلْ بِصَفْوَةِ الْعَمَلِ. You engage yourself in the purity of action. So do not be deceived by the abundance of actions. Focus on the purity of actions. One simple deed that gets accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is much more valuable than hundreds of deeds that is done out of lack of sincerity. This hadith, this part that I quoted with, is actually a part of a bigger tradition in which the Holy Prophet first asked Amirul Mu'mineen, are you interested in 60,000 dinars or 60,000 sheep or 60,000 words of wisdom? Do you want words of wisdom or do you want wealth? Do you want ilm or do you want wealth? The discussion that we had yesterday. Wealth or knowledge? Imam said, obviously I am in need of 60,000 words of wisdom. Wisdom will not come to you if you prefer wealth over knowledge. So this was a test for Amirul Mu'mineen, and he passed it with flying colors. Obviously I need wisdom. The Holy Prophet said, I'm going to summarize wisdom, 60,000 words of wisdom, in 6 statements. So with each statement you can unlock 10,000 words of wisdom. And then he gave these 6 statements. All of them are full of basira. If you recall, we mentioned basira is that you know how to prioritize your actions and your decisions. You know what to put first, what comes first and what comes second. He says, Ya Ali, إِذَا رَأَيْتَ النَّاسِ. Oh Ali, if you see, إِذَا رَأَيْتَ أَنَّ النَّاسِ يَشْتَغِلُونَ بِالنَّوَافِلِ فَاشْتَغِلْ أَنْتَ بِالْفَرَائِضِ. When you see people engaging themselves in the nawafil, in the voluntary acts, you engage yourselves in the necessary and wajib acts. Do not lose priority of what is wajib and what is mustahab. Again, you need basira here to know what is wajib and what is mustahab in certain cases. When the Imam is calling you in the battlefield and you engage yourselves with the Salatul Layl and all of the voluntary acts of worship, you have missed the point when the Imam needs you in the battlefield. And that is where you should be. And if it is the time of peace and sulh, then that is what you should be doing. And in that case, if you take up arms and go and fight, then you have missed the point and you have not acted on the basira that you should have acted upon. There's this beautiful story of an Arif by the name of Junaid Baghdadi. He had his students, and one day he noticed that his students did not appreciate Bahlol, and they used to make fun of him. So one day he said to Bahlul, to his students, let us go and meet and learn from Bahlul today. They all went. He was in a graveyard. They went to him. They said, we have come to learn from you. He said, okay, let me ask you a question. How do you speak? He said, well, that's so simple. When you speak, you start with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Then you make sure you do not hurt anybody's feelings. And you say good things. And so. And then you end with thankfulness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Bahlul turned back to his students and he said, what kind of a teacher have you chosen for yourself? He does not know the manners and etiquettes of speaking. And then he left. The students felt really bad. He has insulted our teacher. Anyway, days passed, and after a couple of days, Junaid said to his students, let us go and visit him again. This time they went. Again, he was busy in his thoughts. This extended their greetings and then asked, he said, we have come to learn from you. Teach us something. He said, do you know how to eat? He said, yes, it is simple. You start with the word of Allah. You break your food into small morsels. You chew on them. You make sure it is completely broken into pieces before you swallow. You do not drink water while you're eating. And then you end up with shukr alhamdulillah. Again, he turned to his students and said, what kind of a teacher have you chosen? He doesn't even know how to eat. And then he left. The students were not surprised and getting upset. But Junaid knew who Bahlul was. A few days later, they again decided to go meet him. This time again, Bahlul asked him, so tell me, how do you go to sleep? He said, again, before going to sleep, you do wuzu. You sleep on the right hand side. You facing the Qibla. And you sleep early so that you can get up early. And you read these surahs and these surahs and these surahs before going to bed. Bahlul turned to him and his students, what kind of a teacher have you chosen? He doesn't even know how to sleep. And then left again. The students had had enough. The next time they went to him, and before asking him, and the teacher said to Bahlul, I don't know how to eat, I don't know how to sleep, I don't know how to talk, you teach me how to. He said, now you are ready to learn because you have accepted, yet you don't know anything. The realization that you don't know is the door to learning. If you think that you know, then you will not be able to learn. He said, when I asked you, he said, you tell me how to eat and how to drink, how to sleep and how to talk. When I asked you how to talk, you gave me all the manners and etiquettes of speech. But you did not tell me that whenever you're saying something, be careful. Is it for the sake of Allah or are you saying it to please people? Are the words that are coming out of your mouth, is the intention behind it to please Allah or to please people? And you remember when Imam Syed alayhi salatu wassalam was in the palace of Yazid, and the speaker there praised Yazid and his family and his father and cursed the family of the Imam. And when he was done, the Imam turned to him and said, Waylak ayyuhal khatib, woe upon to you, O speaker, laqad ishtarayta sakhat al-khaliq bimarzat al-makhluq. Surely you have purchased the wrath of Allah at the expense of pleasing his makhluk. You have prepared yourself a fire, an abode of fire in the hereafter. And then he said, oh Yazid, do I have the permission to ascend on this structure of wood? He didn't even call it mimbar. On this structure of wood, and say something in which there is riza and pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that which is necessary and needed for the people of this palace. In other words, giving us a golden principle for all speakers who speak on the members. Whatever you speak, whatever you say, should be to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it should be what is needed for the community. Not what is said to please the people and the audience that are sitting in front of you. And then Bahlul turned back to him and said, when I asked you how to eat, you listed all the etiquettes and manners of eating. But you failed to tell me that it is absolutely necessary to see that the morsel that you are putting in your mouth, is it out of halal livelihood or is it out of haram? That is more important than all the etiquettes that you mentioned. For if you're eating haram food, then all of these etiquettes will not be of any help to you. And when I asked you how to go to bed, you mentioned all of the etiquettes of sleeping, but failed to realize that if you are going to bed and a moment brother or a moment sister has been hurt by your words and you go to bed without reconciling with that moment brother or moment sister, all of those etiquettes will be useless. This requires basira to put the right things first. Then the Imam said, when the Holy Prophet went to the second statement, إِذَا رَأَيْتَ أَنَّ النَّاسِ يَشْتَغِلُونَ بِعَمَلِ الدُّنْيَا فَاشْتَغِلْ أَنْتَ بِعَمَلِ الْآخِرَةِ. When you see people engaged in the actions of this dunya, you engage yourselves in the actions of the hereafter. Dunya versus the hereafter. It requires basira to figure out what is the affair of the dunya and what is the affair of the hereafter. Extending on yesterday's example, it is possible that the person goes to the hawza and learns religion only to boast of his knowledge and debate with people and be famous among people. Such a person is not going in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is striving for his dunya. And you might find a person who is engaged in studies of physics and chemistry and medicine in order to help the humanity and in order to help the Muslim ummah fulfill their needs in this world so that they are independent of any dependence to non-Muslim communities. This person is striving in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is working for Amrul Akhirah because there is a divine purpose behind his actions. It requires basira to realize your duty in any particular situation. Sometimes your duty is to go and study nuclear science or medicine or some of the other areas of engineering or other human sciences that are needed by the Muslim society. Islam does not want the Muslim society being dependent on foreign nations. This is a duty, it's a wajib-e-kifai. You need basira. In an Islamic system, and as you saw, one of the reasons of the success of Iran and the Islamic Revolution was that it was led by a leader who had that necessary basira. They had been planning their defense for so long. And that instruction is given right there in the Holy Quran, which all the Muslims have. The Holy Quran says, gather as much power as you can. This is an instruction in the Holy Quran. Because the enemy will not see you progress. And the moment they realize that you are getting there where you will become a threat, they will show their true colors. So this wise man, who was a marja, who was a basir person, who was a faqih person, that is why Islam has special instructions on who is supposed to lead the ummah. It is not that Islam gave no instructions and left it to the ummah to decide whoever leads. once the Holy Prophet left this world. Very specific instructions. In the time of and even if you don't look at those instructions and you use your aql will also tell you. In the time of Fir'aun, who was supposed to be in charge of the affairs of the world, Musa alayhi salatu wassalam or Fir'aun? Who deserved to rule? Who should be in charge? Musa? Fir'aun and Musa be his advisor and advise him, or Musa should be in charge? And Fir'aun should be placed in prison where he deserves to be. In the time of Janabi Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, should Ibrahim be running the affairs of the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Or Namrud, who is an enemy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? It is through power and state apparatus that you are able to implement the rule of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is why you find Fir'aun against Musa alayhi salatu wassalam. That is why you find Namrud against Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam. Because they considered them to be a threat to the system of governance. They opposed and stood up against them. They resisted. The strategy of resistance can change, but resistance was there always. In yesterday's tradition, when Imam Kazib alayhi salatu wassalam wrote that letter to Harun, showing that he was not a person of this dunya, rather he was a person of akhirah. Yet Harun was an enemy to him and plotted to imprison him and eventually kill him. Why? Because even though the Imam was a person of this dunya, of the akhirah, but it was this caliphate and this kingdom that if he had access to, he would be able to implement the rule of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was through this apparatus of power that he would be able to take the right of the oppressed person from the mouth of the oppressors. So that is why Amirul Mu'minin ruled while he did not love this dunya. So Islam is not against you having control over this dunya. Islam is not against you possessing this dunya. It is against you becoming a slave to this dunya. The example that I gave yesterday, the first scratch that appears on your iPhone hurts you. It is because you are attached to the dunya. You are a slave to it. You are protecting it. You are making efforts to protect it. And you're affected by it. But the 100th scratch, it is irrelevant now. Yes, it is still your responsibility to protect it from a scratch, because it is still a ni'mat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and a blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our children are blessings of Allah, so we need to protect them. But when the time comes to let them go, give up their life in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when Ali Akbar came to take permission, the Imam did not stop. He let him go without any resistance, without any hesitation. He loved his child, but he was not a slave of that love. It did not come in his way to stop him from doing what was necessary. That the only way, or a prime way to increase your basira and open that inner eyes that we all need to open, is to reduce our love and connection with this dunya. Another example, I'm delving in more and more examples because a lot of youth, alhamdulillah, are here and they need to clearly understand what having the dunya and being connected to the dunya means. There's a story that an alim wrote a book condemning the dunya. A person read that book and was inspired by that alim. You want to meet him? Yes, come in. And as he enters, it has farms and cattle and sheep and servants. Things begin to come in his mind. This alim has fooled us. He wrote a book condemning the dunya, and look at how he lives. And this criticism we also have today when we look at some of the scholars who might have beautiful cars and bungalows, and say, well, it's khums money that they're consuming. We rush to judgments. So things started to pop up in his mind. He went to that alim, started talking to him, and he was upset. He was not comfortable because of these doubts that were coming in his mind. And the alim realized, "Taqu farasat al-mu'min," beware of the intelligence of the mu'min. He realized what he has, and he praised the book and what he has written condemning the book. And in order to answer the question, the doubt that he had in his mind, he said to him, the scholar said to him, "Let us go for Ziyarat of Karbala." And he said, "Sure, why not? Let's go." And this person stood up immediately. The alim stood up immediately. He said, "Let's go." He said, "Just like that? Are you not going to hand over the affairs to your servants and then let them know who has to take over and what things need to be done and what?" He said, "Death is going to come to me like that. It is not going to give me any opportunity. I am prepared. Let's go." He was surprised. As they were going, and they were only a few stops away from Karbala, this person began to panic. He said, "What happened?" He said, "I have left my cigar stand, my cigar holder in the previous stop. I've forgotten it there. I need to go and get it." He said, "We are so close to Karbala now. Forget it." He said, "No, that is the only possession that I have. That is the only thing that I have. I cannot part with it." At this point, the scholar turned to him and said, "The dunya that I have condemned in my book is this dunya of yours. Is this dunya of yours that you cannot part with. We are so close to Imam Hussain now. Let go of it." He said, "No, I have been attached. I have been using it for so many years and I love it and I cannot part with it." He said, "The dunya that is condemned is your dunya. It is the only possession that you have, yet you are not ready to part with it. Whereas my dunya is not condemned. I have all the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yet when the time came to leave, I left it like that, without second thoughts." So the dunya, when we say attachments to the dunya is condemned, it is this kind of an attachment which stops you from taking and making the right decisions. And how will that happen? By changing our world view. And how will shaitan stop us from having that? By deceiving us, by changing again our worldview. That is why changing your worldview is absolutely essential in order to have that basira. One of the ingredients of basira is agahi, is awareness and ma'rifah and ilm. What is zuhud? Again, elaborating on an example, I need to give an example here. What is zuhud? Zuhud is something you have heard many times. Translated as, or defined as, so let's not say, asceticism. Zuhud is not getting connected to the dunya. This is zuhud. But when we say, "Ye shakhs bada zahid hai," it is generally understood in our communities as this person is one who has no worldly belongings. This is not zuhud. Zuhud is not being connected to these worldly belongings. You could have the best house and the best car and the best piece of land, and if you're not connected to them, you are zahid. But if you have nothing of them, but you crave and want all of them, you're not a zahid. Imam Ali alayhi salatu was salam, defining zuhd, he says zuhd can be classified in these two phrases of the Holy Quran. لِكَيْ لَا تَعْصَوْا عَلَى مَا فَاتَكُمْ وَلَا تَفْرَحُوا بِمَا آتَاكُمْ. Do not be upset at what leaves you, what is lost, and do not be excited at what comes to you. This is zuhd. Giving practical examples, if you've bought shares or property and suddenly the shares spike, the value of the property doubles, do not get excited about it. Do not be happy over it. And if all the shares collapse and the market collapses and everything goes down, do not be upset at it. Can that really happen? That your property gets doubled and your business has doubled in its value, but you're indifferent to it. Is it possible? It seems difficult, but it is possible. And I'll give you an example showing that it is possible. So imagine you're a teller at the bank, a cashier at the bank. A person walks in and deposits 1 crore rupees, $100,000. You take the money, you deposit it in the treasury. Are you going to be the most happiest person on that day? No. The next day, another person walks in and withdraws $2 million. Will you be full and struck with grief? No. Why not? Because you did not consider that to be your money. It was an amanat of somebody given to you and taken back. So if you look at all of your possessions that Allah has given you as an amanat and as a trust that Allah has given to you today, and tomorrow if He asks you that back in return, then you will not be excited and overjoyed when that nemat comes to you, and you will not be struck with panic when that nemat leaves you. Because you do not consider it to be yours. You consider it to be Allah's. So if you have that frame of mind, if you have that worldview, that whatever I have, even my children are a blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has given me this blessing and I need to take care of it for as long as it is with me, and when it leaves, I need to hand it back, the trust that was entrusted to me. Then you will neither be overjoyed when things come to you, and you will not be in a state of panic when it leaves you. And those who are in charge of leading the ummah, they need to exercise these virtues to the highest degree. They need to be full of zuhud. They need to be such that they are not driven and motivated by worldly desires. That is why you see in the incident of Shurayh that we mentioned, when he purchased a house for 80 dinars, being the judge, it was the duty of the Muslim empire, the Muslim caliphate, of the Muslim government to make sure that all of his needs were met. So he had been given a house by the Islamic government. All of his needs were being taken care of. Either he did not need to buy a separate house, or he was being offered a discount on the second house that motivated him. And again, as I mentioned, people who are in position of authority like judges, they are barred from taking discounts. So it was some of, or one or more of these things that prompted such a response from the Imam. The Imam called him and warned him against what he had done and advised him against it. A judge has a high responsibility. The leader of the ummah has a responsibility. When after the battle of Jamal, most likely when the Imam went to Basra, one of the companions of the Imam comes to him and says, advise my brother. He has left this world, meaning he has abandoned this world. The Imam got upset. He comes to visit the Imam. The Imam does not greet him and says, what is this that you have done? He says, oh Amirul Mu'minin, I'm trying to follow in your footsteps. You don't sleep on soft beds, you don't have a house, and you're busy with so much, and I am following in your footsteps. The Imam said, I have a different responsibility. I am the leader of the house, of this ummah. I have to maintain a lifestyle that is at the lowest level of the person living under my kingdom. That does not apply to you. And that is what he said to one of these companions, that why have you abandoned this world? And to another companion who had bought a bigger house, bigger than what he needed, the Imam said, you needed a bigger house like this in the hereafter. Why here? In the hereafter, why here? Then he said, now that you have this house, use it in the way of Allah. By doing Sila Rahim and inviting guests and family members and looking after guests and using it in the way of Allah. So if Allah has given you a blessing, Islam does not say that abandon that blessing and leave that blessing. No, basira is to use that blessing in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So for people in positions of authority, all of this we had been listening in majalises and reading in books, but we are fortunate enough and lucky enough to actually see an embodiment of all of these virtues in the great leader that was martyred, the leader of the revolution. For 40 years, he led a nation under the umbrella of Islamic teachings, and he was able to create an entire nation ready to defend the tenets of Islam and ready to sacrifice, yearning for martyrdom. This has never happened before in history. And at times where the ummah was asleep, he was the one who was seeing all the dangers that were coming their way and planning for it and guiding the ummah. This shows how important it is for the leaders of the Muslim ummah to have that basira in our faith. Anyone who takes charge of the ummah has to have that basira, and not only that, he should have enough information of religion. He should be a faqih. He should know what is right and what is wrong. Basira comes from that in-depth understanding of religion. He had that basira for 40 years. When he died, when he was martyred, look at the way he was living. Now pictures are coming of his household, of belongings that he had. Simple livelihood. Very simple livelihood. There's so many examples. I will not go into those examples today. But he was able to raise a nation that as collectively is now ready to fight against oppression. And this is a sign of the reappearance of the 12th Imam being closer. In one of the stories, one of the companions of the Imam asked him this question: when will there be the rule of the 12th Imam? The Imam responded, you can know that time by looking at the people around you. By looking at your friends and your comrades and your acquaintances, you can know when that time is. And then the Imam gave him a story. He said there was an alim in a certain city whose son was not interested in his ilm. He used to advise his son, he said, one day you will be in need of my knowledge, but he did not. And there's a beautiful statement as well, which says, Azhadun nas fil alim बेरग़बत तरीन लोग आलिम में, those who are not interested in alim, banuhu summa aqrabaihi ya summa qarabatuhu summa jayranuhu. The most disinterested in an alim, first of all, are his own sons, then his relatives, then his neighbors. Because they say he is among us, we will ask him whenever we need him. So again, here his son was not interested, and there was a neighbor who used to come and learn from him. And when this person was dying, this alim called him and said, most of my ilm I've given to that person. One day you will be in need of my knowledge. When that time comes, you can go and ask him whatever you need. Time passed by, he died. The ruler saw a dream, and he asked, who can interpret this dream? They said there was a scholar, but he is no more. Does he have a son? Yes. Call him. So his son was summoned, and he realized that I'm summoned because of my father. He was a knowledgeable person, and I won't be able to answer. So immediately he goes to that neighbor. He says, my father told me to come to you for advice, and the king has called me. What should I do? He said, the king has seen a dream, and he's going to ask you, tell me what zamana this is, what time this is. Say to him, it is the time of the wolves. Bhediyon ka zamana hai. See, he goes to the king asks the same, cutting it short, asks the question, he answers, the king gives him some prize and he returns. They had made an agreement with the alim, had made an agreement with this person, whatever prize you get from the king, you have to split it half with me. When he got that prize, he says to himself, maybe I will not need to go to that alim again in my life, so why need to split it? He keeps it to himself and ignores the alim. A few months or years later, the king again sees a dream. And he's again summoned, and again he is forced to go to this person, to the alim, and again he asks the same question. And he says, the king has seen the dream, he's going to call you, he's going to ask you the same question. Answer him, this is the time of the sheep. Ye bakriyon ka zamana hai. Same thing happens. Again there was a contract that he's going to split half, and when he comes back he wants to give, but again the love of the dunya stops him. And then eventually he decides not to give it to him. A few weeks or months or years later, again the same thing happens, the same again goes to the scholar. This time the scholar say to him, it is the time of balance and scale. Ye tarazu ka zamana hai. He answers, he gets a prize, he comes back to the alim with all the possessions that he has, and he says, the first time this is what I got, the second time this is what I was given to me, the third time this is what was given to me. You can take half of all of it. The alim responded, he says, I do not need your wealth. But when I said to you it is a time of wolf, it was a time because people around me did not honor their commitments. Everybody was running after their own greed. And that is why you did not give me what you had promised. When I said it is a time of sheep, sheep decides but goes against what it has decided. You decided that you will give me what prize you will get, but you went against it. Now is the time of balance and scale. That is why you have come and want justice to be done. Then the Imam turns to him and said, when you look around you and you see people ready to fulfill their promises, the promises they have done to each other, then you can sense that the time of the zuhur is near. So the zuhur, the absence of the Imam is not because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Imam is absent because we are behaving like the people of Kufa. We are the ones who are promising to the Imam, Al-Ajal we call, but we are not ready. Yes, there might be individuals among us in this gathering, maybe all of us, alhamdulillah, are like that. But that is not enough. There were people like Habib ibn Mazahir and Muslim bin Awsaja, but they were not enough to protect the Imam. The Imam is in occultation, is in ghaibat, because There is no nation that can support and protect the Imam. When we saw in this previous war, an entire nation ready to stand up on the streets, ready to take all the shots and be killed for the sake of Islam, for the sake of justice for the people of Gaza and Lebanon and all of the injustices that are happening in the world, it gives us a hope that now there is a nation that is ready to sacrifice themselves. There is hope that the return of the Imam is near. This has never happened before. Individuals were there, but a nation, never. And if we hope, inshallah, that is the case, and if the Imam reappears, then I sometimes say to myself that all that was needed for the reappearance of the Imam was 1 or 2 generations who were trained under the umbrella of Islam. 40 years of revolution resulted in the reappearance of the Imam. 1 या 2 नस्लें चाहिए थी जो इस्लाम के दामन में तरबियत पा रही थी. This will happen when this is a result of the basira of that great man, who knew when to sacrifice and when to shed his blood. He knew that my blood is needed to wake the entire ummah. But yet there are still people who are still in the slumber. But the ummah as a whole has wakened up to this reality. They know where truth is, but they are still not being effective because of the slumber of the Muslim rulers of the world. If the Muslim rulers also wake up to this reality, if at least one more nation was there to stand up with Iran, with the Islamic Republic of Iran, with those who are fighting against tyranny, you would not be seeing all of this zulm in Gaza or Lebanon or elsewhere. With all the power that the Muslims have, with all the resources that the Muslims have in the world, if the Muslims are living in such a state, and if this system of governance is endorsed by Islam, then there's something terribly wrong with it. One of the scholars gave a very beautiful statement. He said, if the system of governance that led to Yazid becoming the successor to the Holy Prophet is endorsed by Islam, then I have serious questions about Islam. If we say that what transpired by the Holy Prophet, after the Holy Prophet, is endorsed by Islam, this system of governance and electing and selecting the leader is endorsed by Islam, then this system led to Yazid sitting on the chair and the member of the Holy Prophet and Imam Hussain being slaughtered in the plains of Karbala. This system cannot be right. Looking at the results it is generating. That is why Imam said, Laysa lahu hazahil manzila. Yes, this station does not belong to Yazid. وَمِثْلِي لَا يُبَايَعُ مِثْلَهُ. The likes of me will never do the likes of him. Will never do the bay'ah, will never pay allegiance to the likes of him. Not accepting humiliation from day one, when he was offered many times to do bay'ah and offer his hand in allegiance, he would say, لَأُعْطِيكُمْ بِيَدِي أَيْتَاءَ الذَّلِيلِ. I'm not going to give you my hand, I'm not going to hand you my hand in humiliation. وَلَا أَفِرُّ فَرَارَ الْعَبِيدِ. Neither am I going to run away like a runaway slave. I'm not going to do any of these things. Talking about Ibn Ziyad, he said, إِنَّ الدَّعِي إِبْنَ الدَّيْ قَدْ رَقَزَ بَيْنَ اثْنَتَيْنِ. This person who himself is illegitimate and is the son of an illegitimate father, قَدْ رَقَزَ بَيْنَ اثْنَتَيْنِ. He has focused between two things. بَيْنَ السِّلَّةِ وَالذِّلَّةِ. Between the sword and humiliation. Either I submit to him in humiliation, or I leave this world and die. وَحَيْحَاتْ مِنَّ الذِّلَّةِ. Humiliation is far from us. Hum zillat se dur hai. The message of not accepting humiliation at any cost, rather accepting death over humiliation, is the message we get from Karbala. It is this precisely this message that is needed today to waken up the sleeping ummah, to waken up the leaders of the sleeping ummah. There has been enough humiliation. Muslims are being humiliated. Islam is not humiliated. It is the Muslims who are being humiliated. The message of following the truth. When this caravan was moving towards Karbala, one of the stations called Tha'laba, Imam was tired and he took a short nap. And in his nap he saw a dream. He wakes up from the dream. And he discloses the dream to his son Ali Akbar. He says, I had a dream, and this is a dream. A dream at this time is one of the true dreams. In my dream, I saw that we are moving and there's a horseman next to me, and that horseman is saying to me that this is a caravan that is moving fast, and death is moving them towards the hereafter. This caravan is moving towards death. Janabi Ali Akbar turns to him. Look at the basira of Janabi Ali Akbar. A caravan moving towards death. The only question he asked, Alasna alal haq? Are we not on the true path? Alasna alal haq? Are we not on the true path? The Imam said, yes. He said, then it does not matter whether we are going towards death or death is approaching us. Agar hum haq par hain, but then it is okay to die. Then it is not, we are not afraid to die. This was the basira of Janabi Ali Akbar alayhi salatu wassalam. This was a child, this was the young man whom Imam have raised for this very day. When the companions had been martyred, and the time came for the Bani Hashim to give their sacrifices, the first one to step up was Janabi Ali Akbar. The first one from Bani Hashim comes to the Imam, looks at the Imam, Imam looks at him. Imam knows that why Ali Akbar is here, seeking permission to go to the battlefield. The Imam did not hesitate for a moment. He gladly gave him the permission. That is why he had raised him. There were no regrets. The Imam gladly gave him the permission. But looking at the emotional connection between him and his aunts and his sisters, the Imam said, go and say farewell to your aunts as well. Ali Akbar alayhi salatu wasalam comes to the tents. He's inside the tent. Hamid ibn Muslim writes, he says, I do not know what was happening within the tents, but I could see from a distance that the door of the tent would open, it was lifted, Ali Akbar wanted to come out and the women would pull him back in. He wanted to come out, they would pull him back in. This happened a couple of times from where I understood that Ali Akbar wants to leave for the battlefield and it is very hard for the aunts to let him go. किस तरह से जनाब अली अकबर खैमों से निकले होंगे, बिल्कुल उसी तरह जिस तरह भरे घर से जनाजा निकलता. He left the tents in a way a janaza leaves a full house. And after farewell, when he starts to leave towards the battlefield, the Imam is a father as well. The love for a father's love for a child is only natural. And if this is a virtue, Imam's love for Ali Akbar would be at its peak as well. A father loves his child, but that love does not come in the way of allowing his son to go to the battlefield and sacrifice. But the love is there. Tears rolling down his eyes. Pure aalam ka gham Imam simat kar Imam ke dil mein aa gaya. And at that time you need to talk to somebody to console yourself. Who better to talk to than Allah Himself? The Imam turns to Allah and says, Allahumma shhad ala ha'ula'il qawm. O Allah, bear witness, فَقَدْ بَرَزُوا إِلَيْهِمْ غُلَامٌ أَشْبَهَ النَّاسِ خَلْقًا وَخُلْقًا وَمَنْتَقًا بِرَسُولِ اللَّهِ. Beware that a young person is going to fight this nation, someone who resembles the Holy Prophet in his appearance, in his talks, in his character. Whenever we wanted to do the ziyarat of your Prophet, of your messenger, we would look at him. Then he turns to Allah and does badwa of this nation. He says, "Oh Allah, withhold the blessings of the earth from them. Disperse them. Do not make their leaders happy and satisfied with them." He turns to Umar Syed and says, "I Umar Syed, qata Allahu rahmak kama qata rahmi." May Allah sever the ties of kinship just as you have severed the ties of my kinship. The historians say that we do not know who was more brave, Ali Akbar or Janabe Abbas. It is hard for us to figure out who was more brave. They were both brave. Ali Akbar goes to the battlefield. He introduces himself through the rajas that he recited. He says, "Ana Ali ibn al-Hussain ibn Ali." I am Hussain. I am Ali, the son of Hussain ibn Ali. Nahnu wa baytillahi awla bin nabi. We, by the Lord of the Kaaba, are worthier of the Holy Prophet. Wallahi la yahkum fina ibn al-da'i. By Allah, the son of this illegitimate father shall never rule over us. At'anukum birrumhi hatta yansani. By Allah, I am going to pierce my arrows into you until my spears are going to bend. Azribukum bis-sayfi ahmi an abi. I am going to hit you with my sword defending my father. Zarba ghulamin hashimiyin alavi. The strike of a Hashimi and Alavi young person. After his rajas, after introducing himself, after introducing his father, he attacks the enemy and he kills a lot of the enemy members. And as he is fighting, after a while he returns to the camp, he comes back to his father, and this is a statement that you will never not probably find from any other of the companions. He comes back to the Imam. The Imam welcomes him. He says, "Ya abata, al-atshu qad qatalani." Oh my father, thirst is killing me. प्यास मुझे कत्ल कर रही है. वसिक़लुल हदीद अजहदनी. And the weight of this armor has exhausted me. فَهَلْ إِلَىٰ شَرْبَةٍ مِّن مَاءٍ سَبِيلٍ. Is there any way to get some water? Why is Ali Akbar asking for water? He's a grown-up man. He knows there is no water in the camps. But asking water from his father, knowing that my father cannot give me water, there is wisdom behind it. Ali Akbar ﷺ probably noticed that my father has given me the permission to go to the battlefield, and I am fighting and I am overpowering the enemies and killing them. But my father's vilayat, Nazare vilayat and Nazare takwini is still over me. It is his connection and du'as that are still protecting me. And if this continues, I am not going to get the level of shahadat and martyrdom. That is why he comes back and says to the Imam that if you do not let me go get shaheed, if you do not permit me to be shaheed, then this thirst is going to kill me. If their swords are not going to kill me, the thirst is going to kill me. The armor, I can no longer carry this armor. If you want me to continue to fight, then you better provide me a sip of water. This is just the response the Imam gave. The Imam gave him a response. He said, your grandfather is going to fulfill your thirst very soon. Go and fight, and may your grandfather fulfill your thirst. This was a permission to shahadat. Now Ali Akbar happily went back to the battlefield. Now knowing that he will be blessed with martyrdom, he starts to fight again, killing the enemies one after the other, till a time came that one of the enemy soldiers with a spear in his hand, he comes from the back and he pierces the spear from the back of Hazrat Ali Akbar alayhi salatu wasalam. Ali Akbar alayhi salatu wasalam falls to the ground. Another army member and a warrior comes forward. He strikes his head of Ali Akbar with a blow. Ali Akbar's head splits open, and he calls his father, Ya abata alayka minni salam. He does not say, oh my father, come to my rescue, come to my help. He knows that my father will not be able to come to the janazah of his young son. He says, Ya abata alayka minni salam. Oh my father, my last salams to you. Haza Jaddi Yakra'uka Salam. I see my grandfather next to me. He is sending you his salam, and he is quenching my thirst from the fountain of heaven. My thirst is being quenched. He is sending you his salam, and he is saying, we are awaiting you. Come quickly to us. He is awaiting your arrival. When Imam Hussain heard this cry and this istighasa of Ali Akbar, the Imam Hussain went towards the battlefield. It is said that as he moved towards the battlefield, he would stop at different places. When the shirt of Hazrat Yusuf reached Janabe Yaqub, his eyesight returned. But when the istighasa of Janab Ali Akbar reached Janab Hussain, he lost his eyesight. He could not see where to go. Ya Bunayya, or my son, where are you? In one of the statements, he would say, Alad dunya ba'dakal afa. There is no point living after you, Ali Akbar. He goes to Janab Ali Akbar's janaza. He looks at him, and one of the things that he did, he puts his cheek on the cheek of Ali Akbar. He places his cheek on the cheek of Ali Akbar. Then he curses the enemy one more time. Qataluka qawman qatalallahu qataluk. May Allah kill the nation who killed you. Hamid ibn Muslim says, Janab Hussain was at the janaza of Ali Akbar, that I saw a lady leaving the tents, going towards the battlefield. Ya Habiba, Ya Hussaina. And I asked, who is this lady? It was said, this is the daughter of Ali alayhi salatu wassalam. With tears in our eyes, let us send our final, another salam, the last salam of the Ziyarah Arba'in, Ziyarat al-Ashura, remembering this azim musibat of the Imam. As-salamu ala al-Hussain wa ala Ali ibn al-Hussain wa ala awlad al-Hussain wa ala ashab al-Hussain.
ज़बीह करबल शबीह सरवर ओ our hero Ali Akbar Zabih Karbal Shabih Server, O our hero Ali Akbar. Zabih Karbal Shabih Server, O our hero Ali Akbar. Zabih Karbal Shabih Server, O our hero Ali Akbar. Zabih Karbal Shabih Server, O our hero Ali Akbar. Oh, can you hear La ilaha illallah, the call of Akbar ba'idhn Mawla? Oh, can you hear La ilaha illallah, the call of Akbar ba'idhn Mawla? The call of Akbar ba'idhn Mawla. The call of Akbar ba'idhn Mawla. Reverberating in every era, reverberating in every era, is that Adhan-e Ali Akbar. Zabih Karbal Shabih Server, O our hero Ali Akbar. Zabih Karbal Shabih Server, O our hero Ali Akbar. Hussain says, Ya Ali Taqaddam, O my beloved Shabih Khatam. Hussain says, Ya Ali Taqaddam, O my beloved Shabih Khatam. O my beloved Shabih Khatam. O my beloved Shabih Khatam. Fida upon you, O Ibn Zahra. Fida upon you, O Ibn Zahra. Azar Jane Ali Akbar. Zabih Karbal Shabih Server, O our hero Ali Akbar. Zabih Karbal Shabih Server, O our hero Ali Akbar. Alayka minni salam Baba, this is the farewell kalam Baba. Alayka minni salam Baba, this is the farewell salam Baba. This is the farewell salam Baba. This is the farewell kalam Baba. For we are reaching the culmination, for we are reaching the culmination of Imtihan-e Ali Akbar. Zabih Karbal Shabih Server, O our hero Ali Akbar. Zabih Karbal Shabih Server, O our hero Ali Akbar. Hussain whispers in affirmation, you have accomplished your destination. Hussain whispers in affirmation, you have accomplished your destination. You have accomplished your destination. You have accomplished your destination. But never ending for Ibn Zahra, but never ending for Layla is Imtihan-e Ali Akbar. Zabih Karbal Shabih Server, O our hero Ali Akbar. Zabih Karbal Shabih Server, O our hero Ali Akbar. O our Mawla, you carried Akbar a feat greater than Fateh Khaybar. O our Mawla, you carried Akbar a feat greater than Fateh Khaybar. A feat greater than Fateh Khaybar. A feat greater than Fateh Khaybar. Hussain still has to bury Asghar. Hussain still has to bury Asghar. Oh no, Khan-e Ali Akbar. Zabih Karbal Shabih Server, O our hero Ali Akbar. Zabih Karbal Shabih Server, O our hero Ali Akbar.
They violated the Psalm of David, the youth of Yusuf, the face of Ahmad. They violated the Psalm of David, the youth of Yusuf, the face of Ahmad. The youth of Yusuf, the face of Ahmad. The youth of Yusuf, the face of Ahmad. Oh, what a disgrace for the Ummah. Oh, what a disgrace for the Ummah. وقاتلان Ali Akbar, Zabih Karbal, Shabih Server. Oh, our hero Ali Akbar, Zabih Karbal, Shabih Server. Oh, our hero Ali Akbar. He is a model and inspiration for every conscience and every nation. He is a model and inspiration for every conscience and every nation. For every conscience and every nation. For every conscience and every nation. So come together today to enter. So come together today to enter the Caravan-e Ali Akbar, Zabih Karbal, Shabih Server. Oh, our hero Ali Akbar, Zabih Karbal, Shabih Server. Oh, our hero Ali Akbar.
Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Mu'mineen, we will have a short question answer session, so please do stay behind for that if you can. If you have a question that you want to post online anonymously, you can do it using slido.com. Muharram 2026 is the code. Otherwise, you can also ask the question from the floor.
Yeah, so there's a question on Slido before we take the question from the stage. We should not sleep before apologizing. Should we be apologetic at times even if it is not our fault, just for the sake of God's rahmah? Again, there is basira that is needed here. At times, just apologizing just because you want to be nice is not what Islam recommends. You have to be careful. Imam Hussain was not apologetic when it comes to matters of Islam, but when it comes to his own enemies, he would forgive, but he would not forgive those who were enemies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Yazid, if Yazid was Imam's personal enemy, Imam would have forgiven him. But Yazid was an enemy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is why Imam took such a stand. So when it comes to, you have to look at who on the other side is. When it comes between spouses, then it is recommended or it is beneficial or preferred that at times the wife starts the apology process. Otherwise, the relationship gets disturbed and it has consequences. So looking at the nature of the relationship, when it comes to spouses, it takes more courage to accept that it is my fault. And sometimes when you see that the other party is not accepting their fault, even though it is their fault, out of whatever streak of arrogance that they have, then sometimes the other person starting the apology would make you higher in God's eyes, and it will resolve the issue, and the bigger picture here, which is the tarbiyat of the children, will not get affected. So you have to have the basira to decide which battles you need to fight. I know there will be a lot of follow-up questions on this, and this requires an independent session to discuss. So I'll stop here, and any other questions that are there from the audience? Yes, please. Wa alaikum salam.
Abba, would you please explain Wilayat-e-Takweeni and Wilayat-e-Tashri'i in very simple words?
Yes, in very simple words, Tashri means legislation, Qanoon-e-Ilahi, And takween means the design of the creation. So when we say unke paas vilayat takweeni hai, it means that they have the powers to interfere in the workings of this universe. ठीक है? तो अगर वो जब मोजिज़ा करते हैं, when they make the stone speak, so they are interfering the creation in the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the God-given right. So God has given them these powers. इसको हम तकवीन कहते हैं, creation in design को change करना और उसमें किसी चीज़ को ज़ाहिर करना. Whereas विलायत तशरी'i means the ability to legislate and stop you from doing certain things through law. So Allah has stopped you from doing ghibat, from hurting the person sitting next to you by law. This is vilayat tashri'i. And He has stopped you from hurting somebody right now sitting in Nigeria through design, because you don't have the power to do that. तो ये फ़र्क है. विलायत तकवीनी means वो power होना जिसमें आप डिज़ाइन के अंदर इंटरफेयर कर सकते हैं या उसके थ्रू किसी चीज़ को रोक सकते हैं. वालेकुम सलाम.
My question is that because you said that of course we're not just supposed to cry over Karbala or supposed to draw lessons in the Seerah from it. So my question is connected to how there's a tradition that Imam Mahdi alayhi salam will also get killed by his army, right? So my question is that going to be a repetition of Karbala, and that's why we're supposed to understand what Karbala really was and draw lessons from it, or would that be something else? Would that, because Imam is going to establish the ultimate justice, so I have a question on his killing and its link to Karbala.
So as long as this world is there, there will be forces of evil that will be at play, because if there is no force of evil, then the exam will come to an end. So yes, there will be rule of justice, Imam will be in charge, but then there will be forces who would be suppressed and who would not be able to do what they want to do. So people who are, just like after the Holy Prophet had control, there were munafiqeen who were hiding, and they did not have the power to fight against the Holy Prophet. They went into hiding. So when the Imam would come and there will be rule of justice, there will be people who would not be happy with his rule of justice, but they would have to tolerate his justice. And they would plan and plot, and then eventually the Imam would get killed and shaheed. I don't know if that answers your question, or if you have a follow-up question, we can talk about that later. Walaikum salam.
My question was that, for example, if you're on like the first level of the Seerah, like you have made the niyat that we are going to neglect our worldly desires and we will have the right path. But like some incident happens and like we lose our mental capacity, or for example we die, and we are not able to continue that path of the Seerah. What happens then? We have the niyat, but we weren't able to continue it.
So niyat has that effect. If a person starts walking in the way of Allah, trying to seek truth, and if he dies midway, he will be resurrected as if he had reached truth. So if that is the intention and you're going on that path, then in a way you have secured your salvation. If life did not give you the opportunity to actually get there, you'll be rewarded by Allah to that level where you want it to be. Walaikum salam.
You mentioned that, for example, when we receive blessings in this world, for example, you mentioned when the value of your own shares or property goes, we shouldn't be affected by it, or we should be indifferent by it, but we also have to express gratitude. So how do we express gratitude without experiencing joy when we receive blessings in this world?
Through shukr. Yes, you say shukr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but you should not be overjoyed at ni'mat that comes. Allah blesses you with the ni'mat, you say shukr alhamdulillah. When Allah takes away a ni'mat, we say inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. So these are duties that we have to perform. But what is being said here is that do not be overjoyed. There is a certain level of happiness that comes with it, and a certain level of grief that comes with it. And that is absolutely human and part of our fitrah. But anything beyond that which hinders us from fulfilling our responsibilities that Allah has aligned. The love of the parents should not be such that it stops us from giving testimony against them when they are at fault. So it should not be at that level. It should not be there where it stops us from fulfilling the responsibilities that Allah has aligned us. These natural love towards your family, towards your children, that is there and that is human, and there's nothing wrong in that. And thanking Allah for that is there. But if you consider it as an amanat, so you're happy that Allah has given you the opportunity to raise these kids, and when Allah takes them back, you will be okay with Allah taking them, you will not even utter a word of complaint. So that is what is intended in these traditions like these. Walaikum assalam.
This is a follow-up on yesterday's question about the role of Imam as protecting the Sunnah of the Prophet and its guidance. So my question is that during this period of confusion and chaos we're in right now, in the period of obfuscation, doesn't that really raise a question against the institution of Imam as protectors of the Sunnah of the Prophet? Because like you said, that for this temporary period, we don't have the Imam in front of us, so we have to rely on hadith books and ulama, which are subject to change or so yeah, that's my question.
But because the Imam is not there, he is there, he is not in front of us physically, he is there, he has the ability to protect religion from detrimental, destructive tahrif. And that's one part. Number two, from the time of the death of the Holy Prophet, for 200 years, 50 years, we had the station of imamat, and those imams, knowing that there was going to be a period of occultation, had trained their companions. Right from the time of the 6th Imam, there had been ahadith telling them that there is going to be ghaibat that is coming and that is awaiting you. The imams had trained their companions to such a manner that they were able to conclude and deduce religious injunctions from the sources of religion, even if the Imam was absent from them. And there were actually small epochs of ghaibat of the Imam when the Imam was in the prison. So there was a slight, section of ghaibat being thrown at you and seeing how the companions would react. So they were going through that training period. The Imam have trained them in a way that even though now in this period of ghaibat, there is some distortion that will be there in religion, but that period of training guaranteed that this distortion will not be deviation. So there is distortion, yes, we have to pay that price of the absence of our Imam in terms of this distortion, and we don't have access to 100% pure religion, but religion has not been deviated, and it is not that there is absolute confusion. And that is why you see most of the fuqaha will agree, will share the same opinions 80%, 90% of the time, and there will be very little disagreement between them. One last question, if there is. Yes, over there. Walaikum assalam.
The question pertains to the comment that you made about how we have certain characteristics of who should be in charge, and you gave the example of whether it should be very clear if you look at the examples in the Quran, like Nabi Musa and the Pharaoh. But you said that they're also codified on what those characteristics should be. So could you maybe highlight what those are?
I did not follow the question.
What are the characteristics of those who should be in charge of the Ummah?
Of the Ummah, they should have basira, they should be a faqih. Number one, they should have in-depth understanding of religion, they should have the necessary basira, they should have bravery and courage, they should be muti' al-amr mawla, they should be submissive to the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not be attached to these worldly material. There are a lot, and the hadith that talks about the naibs of the Imam has a list of all of these there, and if you look at them, they will be a little bit more. He should be adil and all of that. Those are basics, but these are some of the specific ones, because you are leading the ummah, trying to implement and take the ummah on towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you need to know what is right and what is wrong. You need to know the halal from the haram. You need to have the courage to say no to the enemy. You need to have the bravery, so that when you are invited by the superpowers, you do not submit and you do not give in to whatever they say. You should have the power to say no. So power, shuja'at, ilm, knowing halal from haram, and so on and so forth. So we'll stop here. We can continue offline, inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.